let me just get to the game. Yes, it was a loss. Yeah, I think the ending score was 42-30. And positive for this game, outside of the offense, was the fact that the team didn't turn the ball over. So that is a good one. I mean, last week against the Cowboys, Jalen Hurts turned the ball over twice via interception. And it was a far bigger blowout than this was. I mean, of course, like scoring a garbage touchdown, that's not always a good way to end your game. But, it kind of builds your confidence, I guess, because you could say that the Chiefs were really trying when Greg Ward caught that touchdown pass. But, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, this defense it's garbage. I said in the article that this team is running a scheme that doesn't match the personnel. This team runs a 4-3 defense. It's fairly obvious to me, and it should be fairly obvious to anybody who's watching this. That means one thing to me, that this team is just in full rebuild mode, and when it comes to drafting, they're going to have to pick players that match the system. This coaching staff is fairly young. Sirianni, this is the first time he's ever been a head coach. He's only been an offensive coordinator, like a wide receivers coach or some sort of assistant. He hasn't been a head coach. He hasn't carried around those responsibilities. Jonathan Gannon, the defensive coordinator, he's never been a defensive coordinator. So it really sucks that, especially when it comes to this organization, this fan base and expectations, when it all comes to these young people being head coaches, it's expected that they're going to catch on to things really quickly. And the issue is the fact that you look at this team and you look at this game and you look at how the team started going down the field immediately. I mean, statistical wise, Jalen Hurts, he had a great game. Going in and having over 300, almost 400 yards and 2 touchdowns. You look at that situation and you say to yourself, this is a game where the player played well. This is a game where the team played well. But if you watch the game, you have to understand that there are huge holes in Jalen Hurts' game. And I talked to my grandmother's cousin about this, because my grandmother's cousin lives where I live, and he's an Eagles fan too, even though he's about 100 years older than me. Went ahead and told me, even though Jalen Hurts is not ready, probably wouldn't be ready to be a starting quarterback on any other team, they're really building this offense around things that he can do, even though he has limitations. And if you're doing that with your team, that's not a good thing. And especially a guy who isn't as much of a passer. This team runs through, especially the offense, runs through Jalen Hurts. Okay, Jalen Hurts gets a majority of the running plays even. You look at Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders, I think he only had 7 carries in this game for like 15 yards. And he's a guy who's supposed to be the exclusive running back, the exclusive number 1 running back, and he just hasn't gotten the looks. There were a few times where the Eagles were in the red zone. One time, as a matter of fact, they had the ball at like the 3-yard line or the 2-yard line after an unnecessary roughness call, and they had a first down, and the only play that went to Miles Sanders was a swing pass on 2nd or 3rd down that made the Eagles lose yards. The fact of the matter is that Miles Sanders is being completely mismanaged and misused on this team. I don't know why he's on this team. And it really sucks because Miles Sanders is such a talented player and he's such a fan favorite on this team. He has the chance to be one of the best running backs. How he played in 2019, this is something that the coaching staff should be emulating, but they're not. Miles Sanders is essentially a guy who lines up in the backfield and doesn't get the ball. And when you have a first down and goal at the 2 or 3 yard line, Miles Sanders should be the only one getting the ball, especially against the Chiefs, who the Chiefs they don't have a good defense. This is why I went out and said, this was a confidence builder for this team. Because you look at the Chiefs' defense, the Chiefs don't have a good defense. First of all, it's you could come out and say, this game was kind of like fool's gold because the Chiefs just don't have a good defense. They're just hoping that their offense outplays the other team's defense and or the other team's offense and scores more points. But the fact of the matter is, it's just very questionable to me why he continues to not get as many carries, and I'm gonna talk about that in the next segment. But as far as I'm concerned, this defense might be the worst defense in the NFL, and again, it's because of lack of personnel that has backing with this team. There's a reason why this team was always more successful in the 4-3. It's just because the 4-3 is a less complex defense, and in order to have a 3-4 you need to have a good nose tackle, but we don't. I guess we have Hargraves, but no one else is qualified on that defensive line to be on a 3-4 defense, and our linebackers aren't good either. Our linebackers stink. So that's not necessarily their fault. It's the fact that the play caller, the defensive coordinator, is using the wrong scheme. They're completely lying to you when they say that they're going to play the scheme based on the players. And then the fact of the matter is the defense is undisciplined, roughing the passer, defensive holding calls, offsides in bad situations. A third down and 14 or 12, and they allowed the Chiefs to get a first down on a run. So we're just not a disciplined football team. The last thing that I need to say about this game is the fact that we kind of kicked ourselves in the foot in this situation because we had 3 touchdowns called back because of penalties. One of them was an illegal motion, or a guy wasn't set correctly, which led to a field goal. Another one was one in which Devontae Smith caught the ball deep and went out of bounds. I had thought that he was pushed out of bounds. I still think he was. You would be allowed to reestablish yourself, and I thought he did that, but they wiped that touchdown completely off the board. And then that ended in a turnover on downs. And then the final one was a touchdown caught by Goddard. He could have had 3 touchdowns in this game, but it was negated because Arcega-Whiteside was holding downfield. And I understand Sirianni was very upset about that, but you can't do that. You can't do that. Maybe other teams could get away with that, but when you're a bad team, you're not going to get away with that kind of stuff. So that needs to be cleaned up. They need to get back to the basics because they weren't doing it under Doug, and it's clear here that they're not doing it under Sirianni either. So while it looks like a better game on paper because it was a 12-point game instead of like a 21-point game or a 20-point game, it's fool's gold because the Chiefs are just a horrible defense. And that it's clear from the games that they've played that they're just not a good defense. They're just hoping to outscore the opponents, outscore the other team's offense. So as far as I'm concerned there, Jalen Hurts did some impressive things, but the fact of the matter is that the game should not be played through him. I know that doesn't make any sense, but what I mean is that while he is the quarterback, he should be more of a game manager than he is right now. He should not be getting 48, 50, 55 passes in a game. He should not. That should not be happening. Miles Sanders, who is a premier running back, should be getting the bulk of the load. He should be, but he's not. And that, I don't know why he's not. I don't know if there's anything going on there